Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'm proud to stand here today a few years after we first created the SOAR Fund, the Strategic Outreach and Attraction Reserve, in 2021. And at the time, many of us served in this body, and the creation of the tool felt like a reaction. The state of Michigan had just learned that we had lost out on an investment from Ford to Tennessee and Kentucky, and it felt like, while there had been many very robust bipartisan conversations on economic development reform, that this body was quick to react, and possibly rightfully so. However, since that time, a lot has happened. There have been a lot of conversations about things that we could do better, things that we could do more of, and quite frankly, markets and economies change. We've seen some of the projects that we've invested in using this tool resize, downsize. We've seen pushback, and I think sometimes we have to take hard lessons in acknowledging that sometimes, even with the best intentions, things may not turn out the way that we wish. Now, in the meantime, since we first put forward this reform legislation at the end of last year, we've seen a lot of coverage of this tool, as well as the reports from the governor's Growing Michigan Together Council that have told us a lot of the things that we had put in the reform in a really loud and strong voice. We've seen examples, and I know many people in this body have heard me talk ad nauseum about the Amazon HQ2 exercise here in Michigan in 2017, where the state of Michigan was prepared to offer about $4 billion in incentives, and Amazon told us that we didn't even crack the top 20 because we didn't have transit and we didn't have talent. Now, Virginia, on the other hand, offered a compelling alternative. They offered a much lower incentive, about $550 million, but paired with more than $1 billion invested in education from K-12 through a new campus of Virginia Tech, as well as expanded transit in Northern Virginia. So today, the reform before us builds upon the work that we brought forward at the end of last year, with a lot of feedback from our colleagues, our members, our stakeholders, and with the new research and the recommendations of the Growing Michigan Together Council, which notes in Strategy 3, one of their 3 recommendations is to create thriving, resilient communities that are magnets for young talent. This includes developing regional, well-connected public transit systems that allow residents to get to work, school, and amenities. By focusing on the fundamentals, including transit, housing, and climate-resilient, durable infrastructure, businesses and talent will seek to locate here and drive further investment in thriving communities. So in that spirit, this reform will put forward the Michigan 360 Fund as one of the 3 funds under the SOAR program, but it will require that 50% of all of the dollars that we allocate into the SOAR Fund be utilized for these transformative community investments, such as housing, childcare, education, transit, and the things that many of our economic development leaders, our stakeholders, and our communities are telling us that they need to be successful. This is a really exciting opportunity. I'm grateful for the Senate Majority Leader, for everybody in our caucuses on both sides of the aisle, for your input, your thoughtfulness, and I hope that this is just the start of an ongoing conversation as we remake what holistic economic development looks like in the state of Michigan. I ask for a yes vote tonight, and I ask that my remarks be printed in the Journal.